Well, we still have several areas out here we're watching in the tropics. Of course, Tropical Storm Nalgae now impacting Hong Kong, but the good news, it is weakening out as it comes on shore here, but still bringing some good rainfall across there, even over towards Taiwan. These images out of Taiwan, just because of the heavy precipitation out ahead of that, with the shear line extending back across the southern Japanese islands. And of course, back down towards the south, we have Banyan, also known as Queenie in the Philippines. This has been downgraded to a remnant low pressure area. These images just show you the flooding still taking place in Mindanao. The ground's already saturated, and you get that convection on top of that, and it creates yet more flooding. And that's the reason why we're still seeing those impacts here. Now, overall, this convection is going to transport towards the north, so most of the Philippines is actually going to see an increase in showers Thursday over towards Friday ahead of our next cold surge that's going to start to come in from the north by the end of the week. And just a little bit of a closer look for our friends here as we go ahead through morning hours. Still going to be seeing those coastal showers come on shore across eastern seaboards here. It even extends across many of these areas that were also severely impacted by Typhoon Odette. If you remember, Samar and Leyte also going to be seeing a good onshore breeze, bringing some scattered showers. Like I mentioned, the convection kind of shifting towards the north by the week and across parts of Luzon, which water levels still high on the Cagayan River after all that precipitation fell, and it's still flowing downstream. The water just doesn't disappear. It has to go somewhere, and it's heading up the Cagayan River, and yet more precipitation not welcome. Meanwhile, like I mentioned, we still have Nalgae, also known, of course, as Payang here in the Philippines, but now impacting China, Taiwan, so I'm going to call it by the international name, coming on shore there, and yeah, it is continuing to weaken out. There are some warnings in place. We are seeing, just foul weather across parts Guangdong, but a far cry from what this storm previous used to be. And you can see here just fading apart as that next cold surge comes in from the north, allowing a cooler, drier air to impact Okinawa, Taiwan, and eventually will surge down there towards northern areas of the Philippines as well. So it's a combat right now between that warm, moist air in the south and the cooler, dry air spilling in from the north. The good news is that, at least for the time being, that cooler, drier air looks like it's going to be winning out, and meaning, look at the GFS ensemble over the next 250, nearly 300 hours. There's not much at all here in the long-range guidance, and that's fantastic news because, we need a break out here, guys. It's been busy and definitely not welcomed setup of weather here from, of course, Nalgae, Payang, which out ahead of it, we just had that shear line brought a tremendous amount of rainfall. Reason why, you see here the death toll now up and over the century mark. Storm system tracked off further towards the west, bringing that heavy rainfall across western areas of the Philippines, including, my friends and some extended family there in Cavite City was seeing some serious flooding because of that inflow coming in on the backside of the storm system up Manila Bay, causing a bit of a storm surge there. The Westpacwx being submerged, but that's just part of the story. It's all the way down towards DRMO in Mindanao, over 60 deaths there. Cagayan Valley seeing flooding. This storm just walloped, and it's one of those ones. It reminds me a lot of Washi back in 2011, where the whole country was put under a state of calamity because of the heavy rain. There was over 1,000 deaths. I think it was 2,000 deaths with that one, just because of the severe flooding in Mindanao. And this one, very similar outcome. Not a typhoon. It doesn't get the hype. It doesn't get the warnings out ahead of it that a typhoon does. And I think sometimes people tend to let their guard down, and that can be dangerous, especially when we're talking about things like signal force warnings. You're not going to get a 4 or 5, and I think sometimes, based on my experience, and I'll get on a little rant here, based on my experience, if somebody doesn't see a 3 or 4 or 5 or higher, 3, 4, or 5, 5's the highest, they don't take it quite as seriously as they should, especially when it's just a tropical storm. And I've seen this in the past where we get in a situation like this where it can still be dangerous. So, of course, as always, you want to check out the latest updates on these storms. And number one thing, of course, is always stay safe out there. Thanks for watching, guys.